Oh,
Yeah, but so you wanted to start off with the U.S. men's national team drama, which to me is the juiciest. It's right now. I want to dig right into it. Pulisic out on this documentary complaining about the old heads and new heads and podcasts, and it's coming out, and it kind of feels like it's not that it's biting him in the butt, but he's not that he seems to be losing fans, supporters, in some ways. I mean, like, we're all like, yeah, all right.
Well, we know Christian Pulisic is not likable whatsoever. Like, let's just get that out in the open. He's a very unlikable young man, a very stiff, dry, unlikable dude. But that's okay. He's a good soccer player, right? But
yeah,
dude, this just the way, like, so like the teams are starting to form, right? Christian Pulisic, he took that time off. He took all that heat and all that bullshit. And now, like, his documentary series, which everyone
I'm losing you,
I'm
Toke.
gonna have to watch
Toke, I lost you. What happened with this documentary series? You got tongue tied.
So they posted a new episode, and it reignited all the drama because he was kind of like reacting to the fact that everybody was criticizing him for taking time off. So you got like Dax McCarty and Landon Donovan, Tim Howard on one side, and you got the Christian Pulisic away on the other, and they're kind of going in at each other. And Casey Keller said his piece. It's honestly a big shit show, man. Like,
so, in other words, what you're telling me is that this team that's going to compete in a World Cup next year is going to be very dysfunctional.
Oh yeah,
very dysfunctional.
100%.
So that's.
And the thing is,
okay, so we're gonna have meltdowns on practice.
I mean, beyond all this, when the World Cup happens, we're all gonna be able to put this stuff aside. It will be able to put this aside. But right now, this is fodder. This is hot. This is the tea. The tea is being spilt, and Pulisic is not handling the heat, nor is the rest of some of his comrades. It seems like they got some sort of thin skin issues, and Alexi Lalas was talking about it, and he said, you know, the generation before, a couple of generations before, really didn't have social media and the pressures of having a microphone in front of like the old heads of old former teammates and whatnot to be able to put pressure. And they would maybe do it in back doors and in different ways. But the fact of the matter is that today, when some of these guys have podcasts, like, or have the ability to air out their grievances in the way that we have ESPN and dedicated sports networks and sports shows and podcast after podcast, like, these guys hear it from everywhere in a way that they have not used to hear it in the past. But I think that might be a part and parcel of being an athlete in today's world, is having to deal with the noise.
Well, I mean, come on, man. Let's talk about noise. You said they don't have social media back then. These dudes, the literal only person ever talking to them was Grant Wall. You know what I'm saying? They had a little bald dude following them around with a tape recorder. They had no pressure from any media. Nobody covered soccer in America. There was no pressure on these people.
DPG. Yeah, what was the soccer blog, right?
Yeah, but either way, man, Grant Wall, rest in peace. Regardless of what happened, you know, because again, the guys from back in the day, Tim Howard, your Casey Kellers, your Brad Friedel, like Toke was correct. The only guy that was really paying attention to them was Grant Wall. But now those guys are retired. They've become media pundits, and now they're putting in their 2 cents. At the same time, you kind of have to face the music and kind of deal with the consequences of your actions. Like, you know, you have to deal with the fact that you didn't participate in the Gold Cup. You got to deal with the fact that you also have outside individuals, like, let's say, for example, Jesse Marsh, who went out and stated that no Canadian players called them and told them, we're not going to participate because I've had a long season. So you got guys like that throwing wood into the fire. And, you know, unfortunately, this is all part of it. And, you know, and keep in mind, this is U.S. soccer. Like, this is turned up to 100 in places like England, France, Spain, Italy. So, I mean, And at the same time, Pulisic has to be a little bit smarter and not keep throwing wood himself in the fire, because that's not, again, like you said, there's not winning any fans, and it's just pissing people off even further. You want to be, you're gonna be that type of player that everybody's gonna be pissed off at.
Well, that's the thing. He already is, right? It's either he really only has one way to getting fans at this point, like to get anyone on his side: turn heel and be a complete douchebag.
Like be a douchebag and then maybe score goals. He's gonna have to unless like the man like does like unless he carries this team to like the semifinals or something like that in the World Cup, like I don't. That's probably the only way he's gonna save himself, turn face or whatever. That's probably how you're gonna get a whole nation behind you.
He's already better than Landon Donovan or Dempsey.
I mean, he
already is. Yeah. Like, let's just be real.
He's the prototype. He's the prototype of what future USMNT players should strive for. Like, hey, I want to be as good as Pulisic or better. He is a prototype of all this. So,
well, I'll say this. It really seems like everybody's piling on him. But then I saw this quote a couple hours ago from Bruce Arena. That's crazy. So he says he was talking about Pulisic playing for him and Kuva. And he was saying he was the best player on the field for us.
I guess Trinidad Tobago.
Yeah.
That was in 2017, the game that got him eliminated from the World Cup.
It is, but so Bruce Arena said he was the best player on the field for us. If we had other players that stepped up like Christian did at his age, we would not have lost that game. It crushed him. So when I hear his lack of commitment and all of that, I don't buy into it. I think it's misinterpreted.
Bruce Arena should be the last guy. Bruce Arena should be the last guy to throw in his 2 cents, and I'll tell you why. First of all, we go back to 2017, and we talked about this before. He was bringing his guys, his aging stars, to play that game.
That's exactly what the Federation did. They brought their aging star to see what he would do.
Yeah, he was bringing in guys that were having bad time in clubs, and he felt that he could rejuvenate their careers or whatever. So, yeah, of course, Christian Pulisic is going to be the best guy in the field, because everybody else is like already broken down, close to retirement, or having a bad moment in their club team. So Bruce Arena should just shut the fuck up.
I tend to lean towards it's just a different time, man. Like, and it's almost like we said it before. It's almost like they're like, we had to eat shit, so he should have to. It's like, no, let him experience better, like. But
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I get that. I get that. I get that. But like, it's mind-boggling a little bit. Like, imagine if Messi said, "I ain't gonna go to the Copa America. I had a long season. I'm not gonna play that tournament." Or if Mbappe would be like, "Oh, I don't want to play the Euros. I've had a long season. I had all sorts of games."
Okay, but hold on. If France wins the Euros, there's a party outside for a week straight. If the U.S. wins the Gold Cup, the three of us are going to be like, that was cool, and then move on to the next memeable thing the next week.
Yeah,
like,
but
what glory is in
winning? Doesn't winning the Gold Cup get you the Confederations Cup, or they got rid of that too?
Yeah, that thing doesn't exist no more, dog. Like,
oh shit,
we don't need a Confederations Cup. So, I have a question for you, James. Is this drama a good thing in any way? Like, will it create like a circle the wagons moment where they bond together and they prove everybody wrong and they run on hate and piss and vinegar? Or is this a really bad sign? Is this like bad?
You know what they say. There's no bad press. This is right now, the United States men's national team does not have a lot going for it in the public's eye, in the public's imagination. Soccer has not captured America. There are problems abound for getting eyeballs onto watching the U.S. men's national team. The women's soccer team seemingly has more support than the men's team at times, it seems, or at least, people seem to know more about them when you would ask the casual. And at some point, that is going to change where U.S. men's national team might become a little bit more important, but it's when they've clawed out a spot for themselves, and that's going to happen with time. It's not going to happen with one tournament. It's not going to just change over this American tournament. All of a sudden, U.S. men's national team is going to be turned on. These guys have so far to come from to get anywhere close where Egypt or let's take a look, Serbia nation like that, let alone the Netherlands or any one of those types, before you even start talking about France, Germany, all the greats. It's like,
well, James, let me interrupt you for a split second. Let me interrupt you with another question for you real quick. This is the lowest of the low at the moment, right? For this program. Like, this is the lowest we've been since Cuba. And so, like, what does success look like to you next summer? Both of you, James.
So
James,
this goes into
what does success look to you?
So, let me write this down. What does
I'm gonna say they're gonna have to get into the semifinals and fight for a medal. Like, you really, and the thing is that this team is so dysfunctional right now because now you're hearing rumors that he's having issues with Pochettino too. So, some players are having issues with Pochettino. So again, you're having issues with the head coach, and again, this is a recipe for disaster.
This team is a clown show. There's red flags all over.
And you're gonna see a documentary of the disaster of 2026 in a couple of years. They're gonna make documentaries. This period is gonna be studied if the USMNT just crashes and burns.
Yeah, but will anybody care? Because I was always saying that there's no bad press and that anything to get eyeballs onto American U.S. men's national team is helpful. Right now, the casual American doesn't care. Doesn't care about the U.S. men's national team. Doesn't care about Pulisic. Doesn't care about the World Cup coming until it's here in their back door, and then they'll be like, "Oh, and now I'll pay attention." But right now, nobody cares about this in the great grandest scheme of things. And when the World Cup does come around, nobody's going to care then. But I'm sorry, nobody's going to care in a bad way about what's going on with Christian Pulisic. This is fodder for now. This is pressure. This is what soccer fans, outside soccer fans want. They're like, we want Christian Pulisic to feel pressure to be successful for the U.S. men's national soccer team precisely because he is the greatest asset and greatest American soccer player of all time that we've ever seen. So we want to get the best players around him and see what this guy can do. Because, it's maybe not winning the tournament, but if they could make a heck of a run at it, it'd be awesome. So the next part of that thing comes into, nobody's paying attention in America, but we need to start getting eyes on. This drama does maybe get a few people that otherwise aren't paying attention. Oh, what's going on there? That's the no bad press look. But so hopefully they can throw it all away. At the end of the day, they need to make a deep run. This is what they need for success. To have a successful run, they just need to make the playoffs. I think they just need to make the round of 16. And that's it. If they get popped out in that, it'll be great. At least they escaped groups. Because what can we expect from these guys? What can we honestly expect from these guys?
Well, you got to in theory.
There's way better teams. There's way more deserving teams.
Well, there's way more teams total too. So that's where quarterfinals sounds like that would be a pretty good achievement to me.
Well, here's the thing: quarterfinals has already been achieved. But USMNT did it in 2002. Like, if you want to surpass all
teams in the tournament, dude, it
was a completely different game. It was 32 teams, and honestly, if it was 32 teams back in 2002, all right, go check your phone, all right, Mr. Geography over here. Anyways, like I was saying, if you want to wow people, if you want to become the talk of the town, you'd have to get into the semifinals. Like the quarterfinals has been done. Like we did the quarterfinals, and that kind of shot the USMNT into a whole new stratosphere. You get into semifinal. Exactly. You get into, and by the way, it started in France '98. By the way, 32 teams. You get into the semifinals, and all of a sudden, you're no longer just the talk of the town. Now you're the talk of the world. All right. And people will have a different perspective on U.S. players from that point on.
Okay, well, hold on. That brings up a beautiful question for either of you two. What is more successful? What would build American soccer faster? If, say, we had two players like a Christian Pulisic starting for a Champions League semifinal team and another player somewhere finishing like, winning their respective league in like Germany and also going into the club or into the Champions League, or if the national team performs better. What's better for U.S. soccer?
Okay, so that's a different question, because what is better for the youth soccer? It's not like, will Americans... nothing's going to build America soccer faster. Like, this World Cup, it'll help. It's going to throw more people into playing soccer, but football's the big dog. And after that, NBA, I just don't see how MLS is going to cut into those. Now, world football? Maybe, but not MLS.
So yeah, you're right. So MLS doesn't really get any of this benefit, to be honest, unless it were to push.
No, they will, because there'll be maybe a couple thousand more kids playing soccer than would normally. Because, by the way, it's kind of like the Nintendo Switch problem. It's like everybody who they're trying to sell you a new Nintendo Switch, but it's like everybody who wants a Nintendo Switch already has one. And like, so that's the kind of the problem with America. And sports.
My thing is, my theory is that if you look on the past history of U.S. soccer, the past 30, 35 years, every time there's been a defining moment, whether it was the goal scored against Trinidad to qualify for Italy '90, whether it was, hosting the World Cup in '94, whether it was going into the quarterfinals in 2002, and of course, the whole situation with Pulisic, that young rising star. After every those achievements or those milestones, it feels like U.S. soccer gets a huge boost from all of that. Like, US '94 got us MLS.
I don't know. I tend to
World Cup 2000, because the thing is, here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this. Or have you heard, or have you? Are there any players right now at this moment that kind of got the same vibe and same like attention that a young Christian Pulisic got when he was like 17 or 18 when he was playing for Borussia Dortmund? Like,
no.
Somebody in that category, someone that, oh no, look, there's another player coming out of the pipeline. There's not.
Well, it's funny you brought that up,